Sunday, October 3rd, 1993. Deep in the heart of Somalia, 40 Delta Force operators and 120 Army Rangers overtake the city of Mogadishu to capture key lieutenants of the infamous warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid. But as the teams moved through the city, Aidid's militia quickly took up arms, opening fire on teams on the ground and downing 2 Blackhawks with RPGs, turning a quick capture-kill mission into a hellish 15-hour firefight, as Delta Force and Rangers alike, desperate to rescue and recover personnel within the crash sites, had no other choice but to shoot their way through the city in an impromptu rescue mission that inspired Ridley Scott's epic, Black Hawk Down. This is that story. In 1991, Somalia descended into a devastating civil war as a coalition of rival clans overthrew the Somali government, plunging the country into an existential humanitarian crisis. And with the Somali army dissolving completely, chaos erupted throughout the region as factions, militias, and clans vied for power, causing even more opposition groups to emerge, leading to 6 months of intense conflict before a short-lived ceasefire was agreed upon. But it wouldn't last, as yet another group known as the Somali National Alliance emerged, led by former Somali Congress Chairman Mohammed Farah Aidid, who quickly took control of the country's capital, Mogadishu. These conflicts didn't come without cost, as nearly 20,000 lives were taken by September of 1991. Many more were wounded, and hundreds of thousands displaced. But soon, over 300,000 people would die of starvation by 1992, and many countries worldwide, including the United States, attempted to deliver aid to the region, but their efforts were halted by Aidid's militia, even as the UN stepped in with an emergency resolution. As on December 1st of 1992, as part of a peaceful humanitarian mission to ensure the resources' safe delivery to Somali civilians, American soldiers were deployed to the war-torn region of Somalia and attacked by Aidid's militia. In response, the United Nations Security Council unanimously approved Resolution 794 on December 3rd of 1992, authorizing the creation of the Unified Task Force to establish a secure environment capable of successfully delivering humanitarian aid to civilians. Then President George H.W. Bush announced the deployment of American military transports to support Resolution 794, dubbed Operation Restore Hope.
1.5 million people could starve to death. Food convoys had been hijacked. Aid workers. 10
Lockheed C-130 Hercules aircraft and 400 soldiers were sent to Mombasa, Kenya to airlift aid to Somalia. These transport aircrafts successfully delivered 48,000 tons of medical supplies and food to humanitarian organizations in Somalia. And Somali warlord Mohammed Aidid viewed these humanitarian efforts as a hostile escalation, and by June of 1993, his militia ambushed a peacekeeping convoy, resulting in the deaths of 4 American military police officers. U.S. Admiral Jonathan Howey labeled Aidid an outlaw and quickly rebranded from humanitarian efforts to "This is why we don't have free healthcare." General William Garrison of the United States Joint Special Operations Command drafted a mission dubbed Operation Gothic Serpent, focused solely on the capture of Aidid and 2 of Aidid's top lieutenants. General Garrison's task force included 3rd Ranger Battalion's 75th Ranger Regiment, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, and the elite Tier 1 unit, Delta Force. But before we get into the action, a quick word from today's sponsor, Aura. Recently, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records, both existing and former customers, were released on the dark web. They then recommended that individuals impacted strengthen their passwords keep an eye on their account activity, and even consider freezing their credit or requesting fraud alerts from credit bureaus. Nobody should have to download multiple apps just because a company failed to keep their information safe. With Aura, you don't have to. Aura does it all in one convenient place, giving you a peace of mind, knowing Aura is working around the clock to keep your information safe and out of the hands of data leaks and data brokers. And by automatically opting out of data broker lists, Aura has significantly reduced the number of robocalls that I receive, giving me a peace of mind and helping secure my information. But that's not all they do. Aura provides comprehensive protection that includes antivirus software, a VPN for secure browsing, secure password management, identity theft insurance, and even credit monitoring, all in one single app. You no longer need to manage multiple subscriptions to multiple apps on your phone. Aura consolidates everything you need into one convenient platform, saving you time, money, and storage. If you'd like to stick it to robocallers and protect your information, I highly recommend checking out Aura. And the best part is they're offering you guys a 2-week free trial. Simply go to aura.com/PopoMedic or click the link in the description and protect you and your family's information today. The plan of Operation Gothic Serpent was to surround a 3-story residential building in Mogadishu, believed to be the meeting place of Aidid and his 2 lieutenants. The operation would begin by inserting Delta operators on the rooftops via MH-6 Little Bird helicopters and Rangers on the ground to establish a perimeter via Blackhawks. To prevent Aidid's militia from entering or leaving the area, a ground convoy would be deployed to provide security and extract the teams and prisoners back to base. The entire mission was expected to take less than 1 hour to complete. And on October 3rd of 1993, at exactly 3:42 p.m., the code word Irene echoed throughout the base as the team scrambled to board their aircrafts. The Little Bird helicopters descended onto the target building's roof. However, one of the helicopters mistakenly touched down a block north of the target building and became surrounded by hostiles. Private First Class Todd Blackbird fell 70 feet from a Black Hawk into the Somali streets, where he sustained severe injuries, requiring immediate evacuation. 10 minutes in, the ground convoy would arrive and stage for Delta. However, they too would soon be surrounded by Aidid's militia, armed with AK-47s and RPGs. And as one of those RPGs struck Black Hawk Super 6-1, all hell would break loose. Piloted by Chief Warrant Officer 3, Clifton Wolcott, and Chief Warrant Officer 2, Donovan Briley, Super 6-1 crashed into the city streets of Mogadishu. Inside were Specialists Ray Frank, James Cavaco, Thomas Joyce Jr., and Casey Joyce. Then, to make matters worse, Super 6-4 would also get struck by an RPG and crash land in the heart of the city, claiming the lives of Chief Warrant Officer 3, Raymond Frank, and Sergeant First Class Earl Fillmore Jr. But Chief Warrant Officer 3, Michael Durant, would survive, as well as Sergeant William Cleveland Jr. However, Cleveland Jr. would die shortly after while defending the aircraft with Durant. Meanwhile, at the target building, the ground convoy was forced to retreat, and many were instantly killed during the initial attack. As Delta exited the building with their captured targets and no ride home, the men had no other choice but to hold their ground and await reinforcements. But nobody was coming. Each and every team was pinned down, causing their objective to become twofold: secure the crash sites and rescue the downed pilots and crew, while also extracting Delta, their prisoners, and themselves. But with little ammo for prolonged engagements, and being barraged by hit-and-run guerrilla-like tactics, the teams were off balance, making any sort of rescue impossible. Realizing this, Delta Force snipers Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randall Sugar volunteered to rescue the survivors of Super 6-4 and were inserted via helicopter 100 meters south of the crash site. Equipped with only sniper rifles and 1911s, while under intense fire from the enemy, Gordon and Sugar fought their way through a dense maze of shanties and shacks until reaching the crew members. They then set up a perimeter and extracted Durant from the bird, hiding him in a nearby shack. Gordon gave Durant his rifle with only 5 rounds left and said good luck before returning to the fight with his 1911, which he depleted until the death alongside Sugar. Durant would soon be located and taken prisoner by Aidid's men. Meanwhile, over 90 Rangers and dozens of Delta Force operators fought for their lives as darkness descended over Mogadishu. They would eventually reach and find the only survivors of Super 6-1, Staff Sergeant Daniel Bush and Sergeant Jim Smith, who spent hours defending the crash site. Bush would later succumb to his wounds. Blackburn would be extracted from the fray, but at the cost of Dominic Pillett. And despite the casualties reaching double digits, the Rangers on the ground relied heavily on each other as they moved from one defensive position to another, often under heavy fire, to link up, consolidate, and treat the wounded, leaving no man behind. They would spend the next 9 hours fighting through the night, many running completely out of ammunition, even as Aidid's militia closed in. But by 6 a.m., as the morning sun began to rise, the might of the US and NATO forces swarmed Mogadishu, and the men were home free.
Don't look at me.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more mini docs in the works, and you don't want to miss them. And be sure to check me out over on Instagram as well. And for those of you who reached out for the Battle of Athens casting, you should get an email or a message back very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.